Good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of the Ruffians. My name is Agent, also known as Kieran in real life. I have a wonderful group of players here. I'm just going to get a little housekeeping done first, out of the way. I'd like to thank Role4Damage for having us all on here and bringing this great kind of cast together. I have a few people I need to thank. Particularly our artist Brepai, who you can see in the panels down below. She's done this wonderful artwork of Era. She's great. Check out the Wonders and Blunders podcast. You can find information on them below. I'll have Mike speak a little bit more on them. I also need to shout out Nerds of the West, a partner channel that does a bunch of games in Australia. They do all sorts of wacky fun stuff. They're great. And what else? Merch store. We recently have gotten merch. I highly recommend it. It's good. The coffee mugs are super big. You can fit lots of tea in them if you so choose. So today we are starting off with a brand new adventure for the channel in a brand new time slot. It's going to be a little piratey themed, as I'm sure you can already tell from some of the starting artwork and our cast and crew here. So I'm just going to send it down the line here. I'm going to start with Sean, who's going to be playing Django. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little about you, where you come from, and about Django.
Great, yeah. So as you said, my name's Sean. I'm from the ParadiceRPG channel. I've tasked Shannon with giving you all the information about our channel so that because she knows it better than I do, even though I DM our show every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Advantage in Paradise. Super excited to be here. Been playing D&D for a while now, and I don't get to play that often, so this is very exciting. Django, a little bit about Django. I'll let you kind of get to know him in the story, but he's a bard, College of Eloquence. He likes to talk a lot, and he likes to talk when he's not supposed to talk, which comes out in varying ways that often get him into trouble, particularly trouble on the various different pirate ships that he's been on and been kicked off of.
Great. We'll introduce you next to Shannon, also of the Paradise RPG crew.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon, and I am also with Sean at Paradise RPG. And as he said, I have all of our info on where you can find us. You can find us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, podcast locations at Paradise RPG, PARADICE RPG, no spaces. We play, as Sean said, Advantage in Paradise on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also have the Tim and Shannon Power Hour on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern, where Tim and I sit around and talk about our story and then chat with some awesome people in the D&D community. Alex streams on Tuesdays when he feels like it. And Sean is working on a DM's Corner now that he has amazing internet, and it's wonderful. It's already more better than it was. And our merch shop just launched today. I'm so excited about that. So it's everywhere. You can go check it out. And really excited to be here. Thanks for having us. Oh, Lydia. It's the whole reason I'm here. Lydia is a pirate monk. She was born in a noble family, but she quickly left it because it was not the life for her. And she's been hopping from ship to ship trying to make a name for herself. And her greatest ambition is to captain her own ship someday.
A noble goal for a noble pirate. Next up, we have Shelby from the Wystle While You Work YouTube sensation.
It's a little generous, but thank you. I'm Shelby. I'm from the channel Wystle While You Work. I basically just tell stories about my D&D antics while drawing whatever D&D art comes to mind. You can find me on Twitter at WystleWys, Wystle spelled WYSTLE, or just find me on YouTube or Instagram at Wystle While You Work. Era is an elven necromancer. She is a little out of her element. She's not very piratey, but she's got her own motivations for being with this group of hooligans. That's all I'll say.
All right. And then finally, we have Mike, a DM very dear to my heart, as he is my Wonders and Blunders normal DM. And now we get to trade roles today.
I'm very excited that the tables have finally turned. I'm Mike. I'm playing Sloop. I'm the DM for Wonders and Blunders. It's a podcast. We play sort of like a horror comedy with a cute family vibe. We release new episodes every Monday. You can find us at wonderandblunder.com and at Wonder and Blunder on just about any social media. We just got some new art done by a great comic book artist named Mike Fian. So that's a great reason to go check out the site and maybe get addicted to the podcast. I won't stop you. You're adults. You can do what you want. I'm playing Sloop Brinescale, who is descendant of dragons, you know, like a real sharp, small lizard. He is a kobold. The pirate life is for him, and he is a very creative problem solver. He is a thief rogue, so he's going to be getting into other people's business, as he always has and will continue for his presumably short lifespan.
Excellent. And yeah, to explain a little bit about myself, I've been playing D&D for, I don't know, well over 15 years, though only really recently done some DMing in the past couple of years. I'm here on Role4Damage twice a week right now on Monday and Friday evenings, Australia time. And now I'll be here all May for Saturday mornings, or Friday evenings in Eastern Standard Time, where I live, because I'm not in Australia. And yeah, I'm part of Wonders and Blunders. I love D&D. It's very dear to me. It's been a very precious thing in my life that I care for very much. And I love the community that it brings together. And I love getting a little new community here today. So without further ado, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Let me tell you a little bit about the world as we jump in. So, it has been less than 1 month since Calamity struck the Sapphire Throne and threw the continent of Carrion into chaos. In an age of peace, during a time of celebration, the capital city of Loracy was attacked by fiends from deep within the earth. Everyone on the continent remembers precisely where they were when they felt the great rumbling earthquakes that shook the ground and cast the mountains of Barramuns into the sea, for it is not every day that mankind sees the mountains move. Within the cities lost that day rest countless civilians, young and old, but chiefly among them were the Sapphire Throne's royal family and the high priest and priestesses of the land. With no clear heir to the throne and no clear throne to be found amongst the rubble, the armies marshaled to a young bastard child by the name of Eodric. You, players, know him as King. Claiming to be the remaining heir, bastard or not, he brought the armies south to secure the lowlands and protect his kingdom's people. You have been traveling for 2.5 days on a small merchant vessel from the holy city of Valand. For reasons that are your own, you have signed up to serve with the Sapphire Throne's navy, whom, along with the help of the king's army and your own efforts, have just sacked the holy city in an act of revenge against the gods. Now, on your 3rd day at sea, the port city of Adrithel looms on the horizon. Tall ship masts and a long wooden harbor stretch down the length of the beach, shadowed to the west by 3-story cliffs that keep the ordinary people away from the dangers of the docks. You've been told little about the town before arriving, but most know Adrithel as the trade hub of the West, a grimy and well-worn port town with dark alleyways, tough soldiers, and the kind of shops where you can find anything for the right coin. You know the town to be ruled by merchant princes, 3 families keen to put their differences aside so that they can make a quick buck before inevitably stabbing each other in the backs again. Since 1 month ago, when the mountains met the sea, the merchant princes have now found themselves ruling the largest city on the continent, and rumor states that they have no intention of giving it back to the new pretender of the Sapphire Throne. The Navy has placed you aboard this merchant vessel that escaped before all hell broke loose, and aim to smuggle you in as ordinary sailors. You've been told to find a contact loyal to the throne that goes by the name of Creek, said to be waiting for you at the Beggar and Cask, a popular spot among the dock workers. You've been told that Creek will have your equipment waiting for you, that you'll have 5 days to complete your mission in Adrithel. Sow discord among the town and the merchant princes, and assure that when the army arrives, there is minimal chance for resistance. King Eodric wishes to take the town without bloodshed, but What happens before he gets there is left to your discretion. Any questions? No?
Sounds good to me.
Then with a gentle bump and the groan of wood against wood, your ship arrives in the docks of Adrithel, and you walk down the galley onto the wharf. The smell of the crisp sea air meets with the sour tang of the markets and the rot of the town's sewer system. The sun sets over the cliffs in the distance as the regular hustle and bustle of the dock workers' day steadily morphs into the revels of the evening. With the city at your fingertips, what would you like to do?
What was the name of that place again? Something Cask.
Beggar and Cask.
Beggar and Cask. Thank you. Can always count on you to remember the names of things. Memory like yours.
Oh, it's a nice town. It's gonna look a lot better when the Audric gets here. Where do you think he's gonna put the statue?
Who cares?
Somewhere right in the middle, where everyone can see it, probably.
Yes, I hope so. We're gonna have to make some space.
Perhaps we
pleasure.
shouldn't be talking about Yadric right now.
Oh, yes, right. Secrets and agents and such.
Do we know which
So
direction this place is?
Do we want to go straight there? Get right to business?
Might as well.
Well, it's been about 28 years since I've been to Adrithel.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's a little homecoming for you, isn't it?
23, sorry.
My math is not your
I may
strong
have
suit. You're much better
Got
with
into
the
the
words.
merchant's rum a bit.
Of course you did. Well, shall we?
I'd like to get this over quickly.
All right. We will go in search of the beggar and cask.
So I guess an important question to start would be, how many of you are familiar with the town? We know one has perhaps grown up here.
Yeah, Django grew up in Adrithel, but he hasn't been there in 23 years, and that's 23 adult years, so he wouldn't have great memory.
I do not believe I've been here now. So,
I don't think
Sloop
I have been
in
either.
there.
Sloop might have been here, but never past the docks, I doubt.
Okay. So what you know of Adrithel is that most of the city is built around the docks. The docks kind of sit within the shadow of a cliff. Past the cliff is mostly noble houses and just kind of suburbs areas, different houses. The village kind of sprawls out from that, but the beating heart of Adrithel is within the dock districts itself. The Beggar and Cask may not necessarily be a place too familiar to you, but upon asking around a little bit, you're able to get pointed in a few different directions, up from the docks, around the market, down a few streets, and in a nestled little side alley, you're able to find the building. A 2-story wooden structure. It clearly gets its name from the shape of its design. Large wooden boards rise up from the dirt in a circle that gives its tavern a barrel-esque shape. Windows on the front let you see into a moderately crowded scene where a bard is playing music for a rowdy group of drunks. It seems fairly lively, though one would not describe it as particularly friendly or welcoming.
were we ever given a description about what our contact looked like, or just a name?
Just the name.
Okay. Is there anybody particular in the crowd that seems to catch any attention, or is it just a bunch of rowdy drunk sailors?
Are you going inside, or just at the moment you're all outside?
Oh, I thought we were already in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Django's gonna immediately come in and just
Yeah.
Sloops right on his tail.
Aragorn the door open.
You're not very subtle, are you?
Not at all.
Why be subtle? Why be subtle when we're entering into a lovely public house like this?
It's a room full of yous. Of course
That's
it's
why I like it.
So
Lydia will
when
roll
you
her eyes and follow in.
open the door, nobody turns and faces you. It is a rowdy crowd inside. As you enter the tavern, you see a circular bar in the middle, wrapping around a central support pillar that serves as a fireplace. Across the mantel, you can see a variety of bottles, fine glasswork, wooden mugs, a vase of yellow daffodils, large two-handed sword, and a collection of kind of various cookware. A middle-aged human man works the bar, serving drinks to a drunken mob near the stage on the right, and a variety of sailors and dock workers can be seated kind of both around the bar and at the various tables that skirt the outside. At the very back of the bar, you also notice there is a set of stairs, and as you look up, you can see a railing that kind of circles the central area and looks down from a balcony.
Right. I'll back to my previous question. Is there anybody in particular that seems to stick out? Whether it's maybe someone looking a little shifty or...
Why don't I get you to make a perception check?
Hey. Yes.
First roll.
All right. 15.
13. So around the bar, you see the bartender itself. You see a server working around. Seated at the bar, you do notice a man in fairly well-attired clothing. He looks to be almost a bit of a butler and has this drunken crowd sort of working around them, chatting and drinking and dancing along with the music. A bard on stage seems entirely occupied with the fact that he has people actually listening to him for once. And among the rest, you see various dock workers. You see a group of hunters, some down on their luck looking peasant folk, and of course this mob of drunks.
Is there anywhere to sit?
Yes, yeah. There are a couple of tables in the back left that are entirely empty. Otherwise, there's a few random seats around the bar that are still unoccupied. Most of the tables are filled with dock workers that seem to be eating largely in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. I don't know what happened, but Zoom crashed.
Oh, well, you're back now.
Yeah.
So to give you what you may have missed.
I heard up to the bard. So.
You heard up to the bard. Okay, great.
Yes.
Other than the bard, there are a couple of other people around. No problem. A couple of other people around, a group of kind of down on their luck looking peasants, a number of dock workers who are sitting at their tables just drinking and eating in silence with each other, occasionally looking up to the music and scanning the room. There is the drunken mob of pirates. There is a couple of hunters near the bar. And Lydia asked if there was anywhere to sit, and I said there was a couple tables at the back that were empty, and a variety of seats around the bar.
Right.
Assuming we're just gonna make our way.
Yeah, Django, get me a drink, will you? And
Right away, my love.
And don't get involved with these people. Get a drink and come to the table. Understood?
Well, I'll try my best.
Yeah, no, you will. You always try your best. And
Would
we
anyone
end
else
up
like a
fight.
drink?
Oh yeah, I help you. I help you. Best we fit in. So
Yes.
probably grab a few, hey?
A fine idea.
I'm good, thank you.
Let's go find Sierra. There was plenty of tables in the back.
Sounds good. And she's just kind of eyeing people as we're walking.
Don't be too obvious.
Yeah. So
I
as
think
you
I could be more obvious.
Yeah, you don't really draw too much of an attention to you as a group. You're mostly fairly piratey looking. You know, Ira probably the only one not with this large cape amongst her, but it's not unusual in Adrithel for people to want to hide their appearance, blend into the night, disappear within a dark alleyway, so to speak. So nobody really seems to turn an eye towards you at the start. As you go up and you take a seat in one of these tables at the back.
Lydia will immediately put her feet up on the table and just turn to Era and say, so what do you think this chap looks like? Think he's a dark and mysterious type, or do you think he's ostentatious?
From his name, he definitely doesn't sound educated.
You got all that from Creek?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. That's impressive.
I'm sorry, my connection is being really finicky. Just 1 second. I'm so sorry. All right, I think it's good.
So uneducated, you say?
Oh, I can't imagine anybody actually named the child Creek. So it sounds like some stupid name he gave himself. What I don't understand is why we weren't told what this person looks like. How do they expect us to find him?
They must trust us to use our intellect, because we are educated.
At least some of us are.
Some of us are, yes. Very true.
That one that you came with has me a little worried.
He can handle himself. His tongue gets him into trouble, but...
That's what I'm worried about. We're supposed to be settled. I'd rather
That's
not
where I
get-
come in. He starts a fight, I finish it.
Well,
That's why we
fair.
make a good team.
That's fair. Hopefully he won't start a fight in this charming little place.
I wish I could say he wouldn't, but I honestly have no idea.
Certainly hope not. Not exactly prepared for that. Not yet.
So as we pan over to the two of you, Django and Sloop, making your way to the bar, you have to push through a fairly not shoulder-to-shoulder crowd, but there is a good group around the bar that has been there ordering drinks and grabbing the attention of the bartender, who is just kind of doing circles around this central structure.
Once Django pushes through, he'll kind of aggressively make more space for himself than he should, so Sloop can stand by the bar. I imagine he's a little shorter than it, or up to it, and kind of lean over and pull his coat close to him because he's wearing his long coat over his shoulders. Just keep an arm out for the bartender, and then look down to Sloop and just. You're an interesting fellow, Sloop. I look forward to drinking with you quite a lot.
Oh yes, I think we're going to get in lots of trouble. Ah.
Oh.
And I'm gonna Sloop kind of crawls up onto a stool and takes a seat so that his head is just barely over the bar. And he's like,
What did Tiny Dragon have to do to get a drink around here, huh?
Yes, my little friend here, he needs a drink immediately. He needs to quench the fire within him.
Oh, yes,
this
it's
gets-
gonna be bad news.
This gets a great laugh out of a couple of people standing around next to you. In particular, this one very well-dressed fellow, kind of looks like a butler, who starts snapping his fingers at the bartender and says, Cito, my man, no, you've got to get a drink for this adorable-looking fellow over here.
Okay, well that's fine, I guess. That'll do for now.
Oh, it's a great day here for celebration. What brings you two to the port?
We're looking to make some new friends.
Well, new friends? Oh, well, I'm here. If that's the case, put these two drinks on my tab, will you? And you hear a big, applause and a chair come up from the crowd behind this guy, who seemed to be fairly intoxicated given the fact that it's, kind of just at the end of the workday.
Oh, well, you're so kind, good fellow, that you would provide us with some nice beverages at the end of this workday. We came in on a merchant vessel. We're on shore for a bit.
Oh, a merchant vessel. Which family are you working with in town?
That's a good question.
Any recommendations?
Well, of course, the family Nere is the finest family in town.
How do you spell that, if you don't mind?
Nere, Neray. Though, of course, I would be remiss not to sing the praises of the Aaron family, after all. It's great news and everything. I'm here on a bit of a celebration myself, because the two families have decided to finally put their differences aside after all these years.
Oh, we have something to celebrate and drink more to.
Yes, and you hear the crowd of pirates be like, yeah, let's drink some more and celebrate some more. Oh, yeah.
We certainly must cheers our beverages together once they come. So you work with the Hidden family.
Yes, I'm a distinguished messenger for the Nere family, if I do say so myself. I'm actually out delivering invitations today to the Grand Masquerade Ball on Friday.
Oh, lovely. I do so love a party. Do you frequently come to places such as the Beggars and pass around these sorts of invitations?
Oh, well, I like to be a little bit more with my people, good drinking fellows. And you can see that there's a bit of a smirk amongst the pirate crowd that are like, yeah. Oh, yes, this guy, Ruffin here, man, he's a good buddy of ours. We love drinking with this guy every time he comes around. Isn't that right, man? Isn't that right? Yeah. How about another round? As he grabs the bartender's attention. Another round for my fellows here.
Oh, you're quite popular, mate.
Oh, well, thank you. It's not just me, it's the families. It's we really try to serve the people.
Well, that sounds like an honorable cause here.
And I climb up onto the bar, and if they if there's any just sort of spare drinks around, I think he's going to pick up one in each hand and then scoop his little hook tail into a third and hold them up and say,
I would like to offer you a cheers. What should I call you, my good friend?
Oh, well, I'm Ruffin.
To Ruffin, everyone.
And I sort of raise everybody's glasses up.
Make a persuasion check or a performance check.
Okay. Ooh, yes.
Yeah, so the whole crowd rallies immediately behind you, and they're all just like, yeah, to Ruffin, to the Neres, and to the party! And all cheer and start going wild. Lydia and Era, you see this from kind of the back side of the bar, looking towards the front. You now see Sloop up with 3 drinks on his appendages, rousing the crowd to cheers and yell.
There he goes again. That's Django's doing.
Kara just pinches the bridge of her nose.
So we might be here for a while.
Why not? Words. Might as well. Till we find this person.
Shall we take a look and see if we see anybody uneducated?
Yes, let's.
Please make either a perception or an investigation check, since you are looking for something in particular.
17 perception.
Oh, perception for sure. Oops. Yeah.
So, Era, you see, quite a lot of uneducated people in this bar. It is clearly, and you the one thing you knew about this bar is that it was really popular amongst the dock workers, and you see that there are a lot of very basic dock workers. As I said, you see a number of kind of unwashed peasants and stuff in there as well that seem a little bit out of place, farmers and the like. That isn't particularly much of a farming town here. But in general, outside of this one gentleman at the bar ordering drinks for everybody, nobody really seems to be that well educated. Lydia, with a 24 on your perception, you not just scan the room, but actually look up into the balconies that ring the entire bar. And up there, you see a large kenku in a very fluffy, frilly pirate shirt that he is kind of spilling out of. He particularly grabs your attention because he is staring directly down at you.
Well, I think we found our friend.
If I look up to it is. So what did you say he looked like? I'm so sorry. I'm just
He's a kenku, so he's basically a large crow person.
Bird person.
More crow than person. But he is from a distance, you can't tell too much about him other than this, because he's fairly dimly lit up there, but he's wearing a large, fluffy, white kind of pirate frock. But that is because he's all feathery and plumage, like his feathers are just bulging out and like sticking out in all parts of his clothing.
Is he still like just staring at the two of us?
He has a beat, a certain moment with you, and then begins walking around the balcony outside of your range of view.
Well,
What?
do you think we should get the two boys, or should we just
Well,
let them continue to distract people?
no, they're very good at distracting people. At least Django is.
Sloop seems to be entertaining the crowd somewhat.
Well, shall we both go, or shall one save the table?
Hold on, let me check something about one of my items and then I'll answer. That's only for a round. Never mind. One of us should stay here. We don't want these two being unsupervised.
That's very true. Well, do you want to stay, or do you want to go talk to the Birdman?
I'll leave that up to you. You seem better with people.
All right. Keep a sharp eye, yeah?
All right.
So as you're split your way and make Era, you head upstairs. We cut back to the bar, where the pirates are starting to kind of like almost like pick and cheers all of the different glasses on Sloop, and you find yourself in almost as if you are fencing off the different cheers that come your way, as all these pirates seem like they probably haven't seen a lot of kobolds necessarily in their life, and you are a lot funner than most of the ones I think they've encountered.
Okay, that's it. Take it easy there. I'm only but a small, defenseless kobold.
And I kind of lay the glasses down as they sort of aggress on me, and I'm going to jump down into the middle of them.
And yeah, they let out a big kind of roar and then a laughter and say like, "Oh, what do you mean, little defenseless thing like this? I heard that dragons were meant to be big and tough. You don't look like the regular Mealkeen that we see around here."
It's at that Django would grab his drink and kind of bring it up and take a big gulp of it and step up next to Sloop and just boisterously say, Indeed, this great creature, Sloop, is one of my dearest friends. And yes, of course, he is magnificent. He scrounged his way up from his kobold tribe to become a rich merchant like myself. Now we've come to your town.
Oh, we got a couple of rich merchants? Well, then I guess the next round's on you, eh? And the pirate
Django.
Yeah.
And yeah, Django's like, oh no. And he looks over at Ruffin and he's just like, well, I suppose an eye for an eye, mate.
Well, they've certainly been bleeding me a little bit dry, but I don't mind at all. But sure, by all means, the next round's on these fine fellas.
Oh yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, and you see like the crowd kind of like surges up on you a little bit more, and a few more bodies come in from outside, and at the sounds of free drinks and a round being bought.
So as they surge forward, I think Sloop's little hook tail is going to wrap around the side of Baxter and go fishing in some pockets for maybe a coin purse.
Sure. Let's make a sleight of hand check.
I am going to, I'd like to continue boisterously speaking to try to distract the crowd and keep them interested in their free drinks.
Sure.
And just because I want to, I'm going to use one of my bardic inspirations to give Sloop bardic inspiration for his thievery. Okay. As I'll just sort of look at the crowd and just be like, yes, free drinks from us.
Can I
make sure it's grog?
Performance check as well. Performance or deception. Not you, Sloop, Django.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes. You said performance or
deception.
okay. I'm gonna go performance.
All right. Okay, so yeah, you can have advantage on that sleight of hand check and a bardic inspiration if you want it.
Okay,
One
so that's a
D8.
D8.
Yeah.
1d8. Plus a 4. So that makes a 19 total.
So in slipping around through the different, you kind of slip your hooked tail into a few different pockets and find you're mostly coming up short. You kind of pull a keychain, a dagger, and then you just realize you can just grab one of the money purses off of this rube sitting at the bar, and you're able to sneak your tail in there and grab his own money.
So that I just toss that casually into my hand and slam that down on the table without really looking at what is in it, and just say,
There you go, my fine sir, towards our exceedingly large tab.
Great, and the bartender comes around and goes, well, this is fantastic. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'll get a round for everyone here settled away right away. And the crowd goes up into cheers again as the music lifts up. And Lydia, you kind of come around at this time to this the boom from the crowd.
Oh, now what have they done? So just to clarify, Arrow was staying at the table and I was going upstairs, right? Is that what we decided, or was it the other way around?
I think it was Arrow staying because she said you were better at talking.
Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to the bar, not upstairs. My apologies.
No, I was going to talk to Birdman.
Well, then,
If I
Arrow,
could find him.
you see this kind of crowd eruption happens at the table, and Lydia, we'll cut to you making your way up the stairs. As you climb up the stairs, the area fills with a bit of not a thick smoke, but it is a pirate tavern, so to speak. So there's quite a few cigarettes and pipes and everything else going on that have kind of filled the air up here. It's fairly dimly lit. What you can see is that back around basically the outsides of this central area, there is a walkway with a number of doors all along it. And then at the very far end, sitting right over the main door, there is a table where this Kenku is now sitting, looking almost as if he could twiddle his thumbs, he would be twiddling his thumbs, watching this crowd below him cause up a drunken ruckus.
Okay. I will. Are there chairs at this table?
Yes, quite a few.
Okay, cool. So I'll walk over and just say, quite a show down there, isn't it?
And he just nods.
I'm
Quite
Lydia.
a show.
Pleased to meet you.
And he sticks out a feathered hand, says, Lydia. And he makes this noise that sounds like you're not quite sure where to pick it. Is it a door opening quietly? Is it a floorboard? Or is it the sound of like a ship's hull swelling with water as the wood groans against other wood?
Hey, oh. Wait, I think Veggie had died.
Yeah.
So,
It's like breaking a glass in a restaurant opening.
Oh, the chat's hilarious, though.
oh yeah,
Now
there
we
you
can
go.
hear you. And
And our stream is back.
Woo!
But we're all over the place.
Oh, there we go.
No, I'm Sean.
I'm
Give us
seeing
one
an ad
moment.
right
We're
now.
going to go to Be Right Back, fix our cameras, and be right back.
There we go.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Sorry for that. We had a little minor technical Australian internet hiccup, I believe. We were just talking to the Kenku upstairs.
Mm-hmm. And
You'd
he was
introduced
saying
yourself as Lydia. He had introduced himself as a noise.
as a noise. Yes, and he was saying something about 4 mercenaries.
Yes, he said, 4 mercenaries, no more.
That's us. We happen to be looking for a particular individual that goes by the name of
Oh, Django
I
wishes he was
believe-
there so badly.
I'm regretting not going upstairs.
Yeah.
And you can see this Kenku leans back, and now that you're closer, you can see he's got this chipped beak, and when he smiles, which is a weird thing for a bird to do, but the sharp teeth within his beak you can see are lined with gold and silver, and the few ones that are still there are kind of rotten and old, but he looks to be grinning at you.
I'm embarrassed to say that took me a lot longer than it should have. It's nice to meet you, Creek.
And he bows his head.
So, what can we do for you?
Any assistance you can provide will be well compensated.
We like the sound of that. What kind of assistance do you have in mind?
We'll settle our debt when the city is taken.
All right. Is there a particular place we should start? Or should we just go start wreaking havoc?
Head up the stairs in the back, and it's the 3rd door on the right, he says, as he slides a key across the table to you.
Outs.
Lots of room for you. an extra bed to spread out, and a couple of chests if you need to store any of your belongings.
It's very kind of you.
He gives you a wink.
Thank you. Much appreciated. We'll check in a few days then.
Well, this will cover a week in advance. I'll make sure nobody bothers you during your stay.
Much obliged.
Look forward to seeing you around the cask.
It's good to meet you, friend.
And
I will
he just
stand
kind
up
of
and
leans
go back
back.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go back downstairs and sit with Era. Sorry.
You
Era.
will find Era like just deep in a face palm as she's just
Yeah.
watching these two at
You'll
the bar.
Yeah, you'll definitely see Django has taken out his mandolin at this point. Knows no one can hear it over the music, but he's not even really up. He just strums one chord whenever he uses it because he uses it quite more as he just strums it, and the last line you hear is just, and he was the greatest kobold ever, so red.
I'm gonna walk up to the bar at this point. What are you doing?
Oh well, as Django finishes his drink, you see, Lydia, I'm playing the room.
No, he's playing the room. You're making a fuss.
And I'm helping him play the room.
Are you?
Well, yes,
where's-
I'm the one
where's
playing the
my-
instrument.
Where's my drink, my friend? We have
Go
things to
grab
talk
a-
about.
We'll grab a random drink off the bar, hand it to Lydia, and look down at Sloop.
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I fully support this decision, but it's gonna need a roll.
Absolutely. Oh, thank God.
I was hoping it was gonna be low.
I kind of was too, because that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you snag a drink while someone's not looking, and you can kind of see that person look back at one point and go like, "Oh."
And I'll immediately put an arm around Lydia and just be like, we must go now, love.
All right. I'm glad you came to your senses. You stole this drink, didn't you?
I got you a drink.
All right, let's go. We have things to talk about. Where's the other one? You have Sloop with you?
I'm just backing away from everyone being like, yes,
Yes, and remember my tale. Remember the name, Sloop, the greatest kobold who ever lived.
Because he's got a tail.
A kobold so bold.
Oh, it's really fun.
Oof.
Um,
That's
and-
all you came up with.
I don't often rhyme kobold.
It's fair.
Thought it was good. Used part of the word in the word for the rhyme. It's very clever.
But don't hear
When you
him.
need to be quick, you just use the words within the words.
Okay. Let's go. We have things to talk about. Come on, stop talking and walk.
Yes, of course.
So we'll go sit at the table with Era.
Yeah, so you go over, is sitting there. At one point, you've probably looked over, and Ira, like, you would have had just like this old drunken fisherman come up and just start telling you a story, like, well, it was a long time ago, but the fish used to be a lot bigger back in the day, and now down on the docks, it's hard to even make a penny sometimes. But
Era has her book out and she is very clearly ignoring the man as he's continuing to ramble.
yeah, and I think he's kind of like, he's got that sway on, that like looking straight past you, and he tells the story, and the rest of the crowd comes around and takes the seats, and he realizes there's no longer a seat for him and just kind of keeps telling the story, but like over at the next table just like continues the story as he goes down to the next group of people.
Oh, thank God. Please tell me you found something.
Yes, actually, I did. I found our fellow right away, and I knew his name right away as well. He was very clear about that.
I somehow very much... your tone is starting to tell me otherwise.
Trust me. So, he said that was our friend Creek up there, and he said he gave me this, and I'll just flash the key for a second, but I'm not going to hold it out for too long. And he said he secured a room for us. If we head up the stairs, it's the third door on the... Shanna doesn't remember, but Lydia does.
Right.
Third door on the right. We have a place to stay. We have a place to keep our belongings if we wish. He didn't give many details. He just said assistance would be appreciated, which, of course, we already knew. I asked what kind of assistance, and he was very vague. Rather like you, Django.
It's never that easy, is it? Django, that fellow you were talking to up there, what was he going on about? Seems the crowd quite likes him.
Oh yes, well he seemed like a fine chap. Seems he comes around here to be amongst the people, and they bleed him dry of his gold for drinks. But more importantly, he works with one of the families, the merchant families, the Elm family. Apparently they've just made up after a squabble with another family, the Neri family.
That's so. So is he here for any particular reason besides to fuel people's addictions, or is he...
That is what I was uncertain. I did think it was peculiar for a man dressed as he is to be here. But he said he likes to be amongst his people, so he must have come from low-born society, but works amongst the rich. But more interestingly, I had a drink.
Several.
Those two families used to be on the rocks.
Used to be.
Well, I'm just saying, I know we just started, and I don't always like to go heavy in the beginning when I am in the drink, but after we get ourselves settled, that might be a good lead for discord.
And they're having a party.
Party.
Right.
A party?
Yes.
With the masks.
I always go with a partner, so that if you forget something, they remember.
Did we happen to get an invitation to this party? That could be the perfect place to sow some discord.
No, but we did get some good faith with him.
All right.
Well,
Do you think we could get an invitation? And go and embarrass
give me a
people?
couple of minutes. I'll be right back. I get all of them.
Yes. No, I didn't mean literal. Indy's gone. You really need
Sloop,
to learn
are
to watch
you-
what we say.
Going to steal invitations?
Yeah.
can I keep
Okay.
an eye out to see if I see anybody flashing an invitation?
Make a perception check.
All right. I'm right on my sheet. Why am I looking for my sheet? Perception. 12.
You don't necessarily see any invitations, but there is a bag, like a large messenger bag that he has traveled here with.
I'm going to get out. Just kind of meander casually through the crowd.
Where are you going?
I don't think that little one should be left unsupervised, and I don't really trust this one, as I'm pointing to Django.
Very
That's
bad
probably-
decision.
It is the
for
smartest
the
thing you've
best.
said since I've met you.
And that is the smartest thing you've said all day.
So I'm just kind of making my way closer to the bar, trying to be fairly inconspicuous, keeping an eye on Sloop if I can.
Yeah, you can make your way up to the bar. Sloop, I'll get you to roll a stealth check, as I'm assuming you're trying to move into this crowd again.
Okay. That.
I'm going to have you make it with disadvantage, though, as you have recently become the crowd favorite.
Well, that's
Right,
still
that makes
pretty
sense.
good.
Well, with disadvantage, yeah, 22. Not bad.
With a 22, that is still pretty good.
Little
Rogues,
fella.
man.
First session's
Yeah.
going pretty well.
I mean, it does seem that the crowd has been pretty well lit up. They were fairly drunk before you got here. Since you've been here, they've had a round from this messenger. They've had a round from you. They've maybe, but probably not, bought one of their own rounds. And you seem to be able to kind of keep low enough that most people aren't really noticing you going by. They just think you're like a halfling or something of the sort.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take a look around, see if our new friend is flashing any invitations or has recently handed any out.
Yeah, I'll get you to make a perception.
Perception. Okay. There's it's the one on the left, right? An 18.
Yeah, it's yeah. So an 18. So you don't see him flashing any invitations, but as you get back closer towards him, you start hearing him give the same kind of speech to the other pirates among him and the other people that have now kind of started funneling into the bar as it's getting busier and busier as the word of free drinks has been getting out. And you hear Ruffin exclaiming about how excited he is for this celebration, how excited he is for this party, and that he has been tasked with bringing a number of invitations to the Aaron family.
Ah.
Do I hear his repeating his spiel? Wow.
I will get you to make a perception just because you're at the bar while Sloop is basically at the bar stool next to him.
All right. 8, never. No.
Yeah, it is pretty loud, and the bard has picked up.
They
You
have
know,
big ears. It's hard when they're talking.
Django is talking this entire time with Lydia, and it's like it's kind of hard to drown out his voice. So close behind you.
And then I said, so bold.
So bold. That does not rhyme with kobold.
Do you ever stop talking?
No.
Well, not yet.
We can hope. That day, we're not that lucky today.
And so Sloop, yeah, you through the course of this kind of conversation that you start eavesdropping in as you just kind of, you know, every now and then a pirate will kind of look down at you and you'll just give him a little like fist bump. And Ruffin notes that he is carrying these invitations on him, that he is going out to give them, to deliver them to members of the family later this evening, because the party is in just a few days.
Okay. Well then I'm gonna I guess I'll just kind of try to suddenly be like,
Another big cheers for Ruffin!
in what he thinks is a very different voice than his own.
Sure. Let's make, well, what do I want that? A persuasion or a performance check, I would.
All right.
I think
Same
accept.
for... Yeah, that makes sense.
14? Yeah. It's not too crazy, but you get a decent cheer up for the man. As
I
a few
kind of
more
push a
pirates are
few-
like, yeah, another round, hey Ruffin, another round.
And I try to swell that up, like,
Yeah, another round here. Get everybody crowd in. Let's get some more drinks.
like push them all towards him, and try to get in under his coat again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get you to make the sleight of hand check. Django, Lydia, Era, you are watching the crowd boom up loudly and stuff from the other side, but you can't see Sloop amongst them. He is a small creature, and kind of the moment he goes around the bar and into a crowd, you just lose sight of him.
Look what you started. Are you proud of yourself?
Best crowd I've had in ages, mate.
If this
Perhaps I
goes
get their
wrong,
attention more.
If this goes wrong, are you prepared to own this crowd?
Well, prepared is a funny word.
Like I said, he starts the fight, I end it.
I don't start the fight, dear.
You start the fight.
I
off
was more referring
there.
to if we need a distraction, can you cause one?
Oh, he's very good at that.
Performing.
Certainly. Shall I start one now?
No.
Let's wait and see if
Not yet.
Let's wait and see if the little one gets hurt. But if we need to, I can help you in some way. Be surprised how a few magical sparks can tend to entertain a crowd.
Especially a drunk one.
That is the second smartest thing I've heard you say since I've met you.
You clearly don't listen to what I say most of the time, do you?
Well, I'm going to
Don't
go.
take it personally. He doesn't listen to anybody.
And Django will do a quick twirl out of his chair, and he's not going to go over to Sloop. He's just going to kind of go kind of occasionally strumming the mandolin, and poorly. It doesn't play a good note because he has the flagon in his fingers that are playing on the mandolin, and he only has a few fingers. So I just want to, essentially what I wanted to do is I want to go close to the opposite wall from where Sloop is at the bar and just be kind of ready, keeping an eye out to see if any trouble happens, to kind of engage in a bombastic distraction.
Yeah, so you basically sit on the opposite side of this circular bar from Ruffin himself, the messenger. Sloop, you manage to get in and grab the bag. Ruffin does not notice you. As you are making your way out of the crowd, one large barrel-chested pirate stands and blocks you as you're leaving kind of the last row. He rolled a 20 on his perception check.
Oh.
But he looks at you, and he's got arms crossed, and he looks at you, and he looks at the bag, and he just looks back at you, eyes narrow, without saying a word.
I keep eye contact with him and reach into the bag. Does it feel like there's a lot of invitations in there?
It does. It feels like there's at least a couple dozen.
I grab one and, just keeping eye contact, slowly hand it up to him and be like,
Do you like parties?
Make a persuasion check.
Man, that's exactly what I wanted you to do.
everybody loves parties.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh boy, there we go. That's a 4.
Oh, no.
4 on both.
He reaches forward and takes the envelope and says, I like gold a lot more. And free drinks. And you can see him tuck the envelope into his belt.
Yeah, I kind of pat my pockets and be like,
Can I get you at the next one?
And he just kind of leans back and says, boys, we got ourselves a pickpocket. And you can hear a couple people go like, yeah! Oh,
Oh dear.
Do we see this? Well, I guess we hear him shout, "We've got a
Yeah.
pickpocket."
You, Django, you would be able to see from where you are sitting, you can see that this large guy is looking down at, you're basically just seeing like the snout poking out over the bar.
Oh no.
Like the envelope go up and give it to him. But the rest of you can only just see the back of this like big, like 300-pound pirate dude.
Where I'm sitting, can I see Django?
Yes, absolutely.
I just kind of make eye contact with him in like a silent, do we need to do this?
And Django will respond. He'll look at her and look at Sloop, and then look at her and be like,
All right. Well, I'm going to cast Prestidigitation, and what do I want to make happen here? Let's do a sensory effect of sparks that are a really kind of disturbing, sickly green and yellow. And if I can, I would like to get them as close to. If I can, I'd like to get them as close to the pirate that's staring down Sloop as possible. If I have to move, I will.
Yeah, so I think you would be able to, I don't know the range on Prestidigitation, but I like this idea.
I don't think it has up to 10 feet. Up to 10 feet.
While she's doing that, Django would like to start approaching, and I want him to slip around the big pirate and come up next to Sloop.
Okay, and Lydia, what would you like to do while you see this happening?
I am watching, and I'm still at the table, and I am debating whether or not I need to start a fight as another distraction.
All right, so yeah, Django and Ira, you kind of both slink up on either side of this pirate as Lydia lays back with her feet on the table, and you do this sickly sparking flashbang in front of him. Make a intimidation check for me.
Oh, that's gonna be horrible, but let's do it. Where's my intimidation stat?
You can do it. I believe in you.
That's a 12.
Okay.
It's better than what I expected. My charisma is terrible.
This pirate, he kind of steps for a second and then just turns and says, "And it looks like he's got friends."
And at that, I want Dingo to come up and to try to make the sparks seem like it was part of the show. And he's going to drum a dramatic chord and just shout out, "Lend me your ears, friends, as my brave, so bold, kobold sloop here, and I will give you the scoop."
I
will-
that. 8 out of 10.
Let you make a performance check. I
Can I
will.
aid his performance
Lydia's face
check
palming.
at all? Can I aid his performance check at all with another prestidigitation effect? Like, I
Yes,
don't know,
I
like
will
some
allow
little...
you to take. I will allow you to do that to take advantage on it.
She just makes a bunch of golden stars around Django as he's giving his spiel.
Oh, okay, where's my...
No.
Oh no.
It's advantage,
yeah,
right?
it's advantage. It does not meet my DC.
Oh,
As you strum this chord and have a little shower of golden sparks, you hear the music from the bard himself stop in pause of this, and then there is a pause, and the crowd of pirates just start rushing forward. The bard picks up a wild beat, and I will have you roll initiative as we cut to a quick 5-minute break.
Oh, cool. Where the
Excellent.
hell's my
I
token?
dig myself out of this hole.
I was trying to help you, man.
You did.
Hello and welcome back to the Ruffians. When we just so recently left our crowd of troublesome pirates, they were trying to get out of getting busted for pickpocketing in the Beggar and Cask Tavern. A group of rowdy drunken pirates found out that Sloop had stolen a bag off of their local rube, who supplies them with free drinks, which they are none too happy about. And we have rolled up initiative. I have not rolled for our guy, though. All right. So I don't know how to add him in here. Here, this
The
one
initiative
looks like
point
it.
for anyone else.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Mhm.
That's all that really matters. Lydia, you are up
Yes.
first.
All right. Is there anybody around me, or is the bulk of the fight happening up where my friends are?
The bulk of the fight is beginning. This kind of crowd of pirates down in the bottom right corner
Mhm.
are moving their way across the entrance towards where your buddies are all are.
Okay. Well, then I will get up from the table, heave a big sigh, and I will move all the way up there. I believe my movement is 40. It says 30 on the Roll20 sheet, but it says 40 on my D&D Beyond sheet.
Yeah, you're a monk. I think you should be.
Yeah,
40.
yeah. So, oops.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, my chair.
40. Okay. That's as far as I can get. Is there anybody besides my friends around me right there?
There's a couple of people sitting at a table near you, and a couple people on the bar, kind of on your left and right. Behind you is mostly open. That's kind of the shadowy set of tables that you were hanging out in.
Yep. Okay. I will hold an unarmed strike for somebody that takes a strike, that like starts to fight one of my friends. Doesn't matter who it is, just whoever comes close enough to get decked.
Yeah. So the first thing that happens as they are up next on the initiative is that 2 bottles go sailing from across the bar, one towards Sloop, one towards Django. Sloop, does a 16 hit you?
It does not.
Django, does a 13 hit you?
That just hits me.
Oh,
That just hits you.
Squishy bard.
So you are bottled for I don't know how to get this to roll damage right now, but you hit for a whopping 10 damage as this bottle comes sailing across the bar, smashes into your head. Sloop, another one comes down and smashes on the ground next to you. There is broken glass all over the floor around you now. That does turn the area into difficult terrain and painful to cross. And you just see with these 2 bottles that go, a bar stool goes flying, goes wide, smashes into a table, and the whole tavern erupts into chaos. Pirates are turning around, punching each other. The bartender is grabbing his sword and trying to fight off guys from crawling over the bar to get more drinks. And a crowd keeps moving towards you. Sloop, you are at the front. One guy picks up a bar stool next to you and takes a swing. 18 hit you?
It certainly does.
For 11 damage.
Machi.
As this bar stool comes across and just smashes all over you in an explosion of splinters. Ira, you are up.
Okay, I think this is probably a good idea. Era holds a hand up to herself and casts mage armor, but it is invisible, so people cannot see it.
Cool. Does it look like anything? Is there like a sheen that goes over you, or a few incantations?
A small kind of weird greenish yellow sheen for just a minute and then settles. And the way I flavor it's that it doesn't become visible unless she's struck.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, you have no problem kind of casting this spell. You're a little bit still behind Sloop as this crowd goes out. Anything else you want to do?
I'm going to start. I think I might take a step closer to Lydia, and that'll be it for now.
Okay. Sloop.
So those pirates have kind of gathered around us now?
Yeah, there's this one big fat guy kind of in front of you, and another guy who's come in with this bar stool. The rest are a couple of feet back, 10, 20 feet. And some of them are fighting amongst each other on top of kind of throwing things in your general direction.
Okay. I'm going to bonus action disengage. And I'm going to jump up on the table to try and get at least eye level with everybody. And I think that the lights kind of like flicker around me, and this sort of electric energy comes out from my mouth. And I look around at everybody, and I'm going to use my frightful presence that I get for being a male keen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump up on the table and... oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, to the viewers, in this world, kobolds and dragonborn are literal mini dragons. They are descendants directly from the dragon, and possess, some of the races in my world possess slightly different things than everything else in the standard D&D non-homebrew settings. And so Sloop, as a kobold, as a tiny dragon, is able to have a frightful presence.
So he stands up on the table, and that electric energy comes out, and he looks over them and goes, "You make no mistake! I am no merchant! I was created by a red dragon, a god of death and destruction! I was made in his image, and even he cannot control me! What hope do you believe you have?" And they can make it's a save, a con save, I think?
Wisdom saving. What is the DC for that?
8 plus, that's a 13.
13. I'm gonna have to make a couple. Okay, let's do them. The table immediately around you just starts screaming. Though, like, the people sitting literally at the table you have jumped up on, one of them falls backwards on his chair into the broken glass. He starts yelling out in pain. The bartender turns and looks like he's like, oh, fucking another day of this. Okay, let's go. A number of the pirates do get spooked and start backing out kind of towards the area where the bard is and the stage, to which they kind of get turned around and pushed back, and then go back to the guys who pushed them, and then they're in a big pushing match, and it's the bard is kind of hitting somebody with a lute trying to get him off the stage. He's upset that his performance is getting ruined. But the big guy in front of you and a couple of the companions around him are still there, but you have spooked a number of them.
Okay, well then I look at them and I look at the big guy especially, and I'm like,
Oh, okay, you lie. You do like to party. Let's do this, big boy.
And Django, it is your turn.
Okay, few questions. Sloop still has the bag of invitations, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and where on the map is Ruffin?
He is right here.
Okay. All right. So I am going to, well, first I'm going to hear Django Sloop say what he's saying, and I'll just say, that's bloody right. And then I'm going to turn and let me see what the range of this is real quick. I'm going to look to Ruffin, and I'm going to say, all right, he's within 30 feet of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. I'm going to cast Suggestion on him.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to shout across the bar to him and say, May, I think you're in way over your head now. I believe that you should go back to your masters and say you handed all the invitations, and the party will be lovely.
Great. Tell me a little about Suggestion. What's the save on this?
Oh, yes. 1 second. The save is a 15 wisdom save. Sorry, I'm trying to find it on my spell sheet to get. So you suggest a course of activity limited to a sentence or two, magically influence a creature you can see within range that can hear and understand you. The creature can't be charmed or immune to this effect. The suggestion must be worded in such a manner as to make the course of action sound reasonable, asking the creature to stab itself, yada, yada, yada. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it pursues the course of action you should describe to the best of its ability. It essentially doesn't go, the spell lasts until they complete their task.
Yeah. So
If they fail.
Ruffin, already at the kind of fight that started breaking out around him, has kind of been like, oh, and then he looks down, locks eyes with you as you say this into him, and he goes, right away. And you see him like turn on a dime. The whole bar stool turns with him, and he just starts trying to pile out through the pirate mob and make his way to the door.
Excellent. And then I will, from there, I'm just going to try to kind of slip behind Lydia. Just not trying to get into this fight at all. He's just going to see his target start to flee and just be like, and that's your cue, darling. And hide behind Lydia.
And we are back at the top of the round. Lydia, it is your turn.
All right. How far away is the big guy?
The big guy is about 10 feet from you.
Cool. I'm going to move that 10 feet, and I am going to punch him. I'll let him have it.
Go for it.
Does a 23 hit?
Absolutely a 23 hits.
All right. Oops. Nope. I hit the wrong thing again.
If you click where it says unarmed strike, it'll do the damage.
Oh.
I believe.
Yeah, I clicked the damage type, but it didn't do that right. Nope, still not doing it. Okay.
Yeah. We'll debug it.
1d6 plus 5.
There you go.
10 points of bludgeoning damage.
You step forward. You're just punching him like right in the face?
Yep. Just
Yeah.
right across the face.
Yeah, you just step forward, you throw a hook, you hear the crunch of his nose as he falls just directly backwards. You've completely laid him out. You've done exactly his health.
Well, that was easy. Who else wants some? Is there anybody else around? Somebody
There
else
is
I can
another
hit?
guy nearby
I
that
have another hit.
on the bar stool. So yeah, by all means.
Yeah, I hit that guy too. We can ignore the things I kept doing wrong. 16?
16 is a hit. Yeah.
Cool. Oops. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
8 damage. Yeah, so you throw another hook into this guy's kind of rib cage and you see him buckle over but stand back up. I'm also going to get you to make a dex save for moving through broken glass.
Ooh, okay. 17.
You are fine. You've managed to kind of avoid the larger pieces. You're used to kind of having to have a bit of fancy footwork and clearly used to fighting with your fists, as it would seem. And you have no problem navigating this barroom wall.
Okay. So as that guy kind of like doubles over, I want to bonus action flurry of blows, and I would like to elbow him in the face.
Yeah, go for it.
Brutal. I love it.
Oh my God, mugs.
Natural
Short party.
20.
Woo!
Dang, I like roll 20.
Is this the first one?
There's no way
Yeah.
you can't do enough damage.
Hey.
Tell us how you take this guy down.
All right, so as I go, as he's like doubling over, before I hit him in the rib cage, I'm just gonna like bring my elbow up and just totally like break his nose and just send him falling to the floor.
Yeah, you send him toppling into the bar and like over the other side as he like
Yes.
slinks down. You see his 2 feet sticking up from behind the bar. You know, his toe is coming out through his boot. He's not a particularly wonderfully smelling character.
All right. I still have one more hit. Is there anybody else around me?
There's no one immediately
right.
near you. There is still kind of this crowd another 10 feet ahead of you with a few various looking pirates in it looking your way.
I only moved 10 feet. So yeah, sure. I will go up and use my last flurry of blows.
All right.
All right, here we go. I cannot
25
lose.
hit.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, I'm glad we have you.
Well, this is it. This is all the good rolls I get.
Next 5 sessions are going to be brutal.
Yeah. 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
7 points. Yeah, you just
clack
kind
him
of,
right across the face.
yeah, step forward. It's a solid hit. He kind of comes up. There's blood in his mouth. But you can see that a couple of the pirates are like, "Oh, right, a real challenge." There's even like a chair. You know, everyone is having a great time. These pirates love having barroom fights. And yeah, so they start moving towards you. Another one of them picks up a large bar stool and swings at you, Lydia, for a 7. Is definitely not going to hit.
Nope.
So like it swings wide, catches another pirate who goes like sailing backwards into one of the side bars. Another one comes up and tries to hit you over the head with a bottle. 15 to hit.
Nope.
No. You
17.
kind of just like see this coming so easily, just like step out of the way as it cracks into the guy who swung the bar stool. Sloop, you up on the table have drawn a bit of extra attention to you, as well as just a chair is thrown in your general direction for 17.
17 is my AC.
Is your AC. You're gonna get hit again. You're getting the hits. For 8 damage.
Okay.
Couple of good solid cheers going your way, but then the rest of the pirates are either kind of running away, afraid of Sloop, or are kind of all tangled up within themselves. There seems to be a good bit of chaos going on, and there's only kind of these two pirates left in this crowd that seem to be really focused on you as a group. As I believe Ira is up next.
Okay, now do I want to do this or do I want to keep being subtle? That is the question. Subtle might have gone out the window at this point. Did I see where Lydia put the key on her? Any chance? When she showed it to us, did I see where you stashed it?
I mean, I don't remember putting it anywhere, but I can say that there's a little pocket in my corset and I just stuck it in there.
Okay, I would like to try and mage hand to get the key.
Yeah. I'll get you to make a sleight of hand check, or a sleight of hand or Arcana, to see whether or not you're able to do
Go
this.
Arcana.
Yeah, not a hard DC, because I don't think she's trying to fight against you. I was setting the DC at 12 on that. So I think like the mage hand is
that. Can I use that booster dice I got?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you, whoever gave it to me.
There's an extra 1d6.
15 in total.
Yeah, so the hand is going around, and as Lydia's just knocking out half of the bar, you kind of make a grab for it, and then another grab for it, and you're kind of like, and you really focus in, and just in this almost like a ghostly wind that comes in through the windows, the key lifts up out of her pocket and sails towards you.
Awesome. I would like to use the remaining my entire movement to get close to the stairs. Yeah,
you can make it basically to the bottom of the stairs, near the bottom of the stairs.
Okay.
Don't worry too much
feet?
about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna move myself over here. These are the stairs over here, right? The ones up here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I want to go that way.
All right. Sloop.
So Sloop gives his big speech and then watches Lydia just deck half the bar. And he's like, awesome! And then gets smashed with a chair, and he's like, oh, God, this is terrible! And having seen how effective the bottle was against Django, he's going to, if there's a couple of bottles on the table, he's going to pick one of those up and fling it at one of the people who Lydia is surrounded by.
Yeah, absolutely. There's bottles, there's plates, there's half a roast chicken. Yeah. You name it. There's all sorts of stuff going on here.
Would I just treat this like a dagger?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I can throw it with my dex.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a 20 to hit.
That's a hit.
Okay. And how much does that bottle do?
In your untrained hands, I'm gonna give it a 1d6 plus your dex.
So that's 3.
3. You see is this which guy were you throwing this at? The one that Lydia just punched?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as this guy kind of comes back up with the blood on his mouth and looks at you like, all right, we got a real Chuck Crunch. The bottle just smashes across his head, tears up his face, and he just collapses into the ground.
Then for my movement, I'm going to try to jump over the broken glass and run into the crew that Lydia's fighting, sorry.
Yeah. You can make a acrobatics to do that.
Acrobatics, love it. Is that 23?
No problem at all. You play the floor as lava. You are jumping across bar stools. You're jumping across corpses. You're jumping across not corpses, just unconscious people. And yeah, you're able to get yourself. You could get yourself to the bar in the center or next to Lydia, wherever you want to be in that area.
I'll get right next to Lydia, and as a thief, I get fast hands, so I can use my cunning action to bonus action sleight of hand.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to pull one of these pirates' assumedly rope belts off.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Nice.
24.
Classic.
Nice.
What a classic move here. Yeah, you dexterously move across down to a pirate who's like, I got you now. And then it just, as he looks down and he's in these like just a pair of underwear. They've got little like anchors on them.
Yeah.
A couple of little boats like fishes that are like kissing each other. It's really
Does
cute.
he have a heart
Super
mom
embarrassed.
tattoo?
Yeah, you can see like just this really cheesy nautical tattoo that says like "I live for the sea" wrapped around his leg.
Little heart with a
And-
mom in it.
And then Django, you were up.
Okay. So who's the biggest bastard that's around Lydia right now?
The biggest guy is definitely the first one that she hit. That just like laid out right away.
He's still
In terms of no, he's out cold. He got
Okay,
one
great.
That
punched.
sucker
One
out.
punched.
Yeah.
Cool.
This guy with his pants around the ankle is the only one who's really paying attention to the group of you anymore.
Perfect.
Or Lydia really
Jan-
doesn't fight. Jeez.
Yeah. And Django puts the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Easy kills to save.
Yeah.
Django's gonna immediately stand up on the nearest table and just shout out. He's shouting to this man because he's casting Tasha's hideous laughter, but he's saying his statement out to the bar
Yes.
to just sort of diffuse the situation while also trying to incapacitate this guy. Where's Tasha's? All right. So it is a wisdom saving throw, 15.
Wisdom saving throw. He fails.
Yeah.
All right. So then he falls prone and becomes incapacitated and unable to stand up for the duration. Just laughing his ass off at my. Oh, I didn't say the joke. Django stands up on the table and just shouts out to the room, to the pirates particularly, just, everyone, look at your mate there. He's been marooned from his own trousers. Not a good joke, but he wants to shout it to the whole room.
Yeah, this pirate starts cracking up as if it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. He is holding his stomach from laughter. You see him kind of go down on two of his knees, the knees breaking into all of the broken glass on the floor as he additional damage from broken glass. And some of the pirates who are around him are like, they're more like, what the is wrong with this guy? Like, we thought that wasn't funny at all. Like, and you can see like there's just like a general unease that has spread out amongst this bar fight. It is the top of the round. You see Ruffin burst out the front door and disappear into the night. As Lydia, you are up.
All right, I want to go over to the laughing one on the ground and say, "Oh, please, he's not that funny," and just knock him across the face.
Yeah.
Jeez.
18.
As a hit.
So, 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
That does it. Yeah, this guy is down on his knees in the glass, clutching his stomach from laughter as he just kind of looks up at you with this big smile on his face, and he's like, "I do trousers," as you just silence him.
Yep.
And knock him out cold.
And then I'll just like turn and see if there's anybody else who still wants to go.
Yeah, at this point, you see that most of the other pirates are all like fighting themselves. Some of them are grabbing the people who have been knocked out. The bartender has made his way out near the bard stage with his sword and is just kind of like cutting between people to stop them from fighting and being like, "Get back to your drinks," or he's pushing people out to the door. But most people are kind of like, All right. Well, we don't want to stop drinking, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So then I will turn to, like, just turning in a circle to my friends and just saying, like, let's go, and start for the door.
Yeah, you turn around. Ira is nowhere to be seen immediately. But we can drop ourselves out of initiative, and you can let me know what you all want to do.
Soon in this panic, I'm trying to make my way up to that room as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
Django will shout after Lydia, "The stash, love!"
Right. Let's go. Sorry. Almost got hit by a bottle.
I did. As he
I
points
know
to
you-
some glass
yes,
that he pulls
I
out
know
of his
you
hair.
did. Yes, I know you did. Let's go. So we'll go make our way towards the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snoop follows and is handing everybody invitations as he goes, and he's like,
Mission accomplished, everybody. Good job. You guys are bad.
What are we
To just the
doing?
party or all the people in the bar?
I do the party first, but if there's any pirates who seem like they were having an especially good time in the bar fight, I'll hand a couple out to them as well.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely would be. Kind of in and around the area. There's lots of people there. Most of them seem pretty like afraid of you at first. Definitely a few people as you come around Sloop are like backing up against the wall and like keeping a table or a chair or something between you at all times.
They don't get invitations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Django's moving through the crowd, half just as a joke, but half to try to blend in. Just as he's moving through people, he's just going to be like, "That's right. Yeah, knock him out, mate. Knock him out.
Yeah. People seem to love it. There's definitely a good camaraderie amongst the bar fighters. Ira, you make your way first upstairs as the others are making their way across the bar.
She's just kind of muttering to herself, like, why does this have to happen now? Why am I with these people? Just, generally bitching, like the pompous woman she is. And as soon as it was I believe the third door on the right?
Yeah.
Alright.
So you go up. As you go up, you can see this. This bird is now kind of leaned out over the railing, among with a couple of other people who seem to have come out of their rooms, and are all watching the fight and kind of having a good laugh and chuckle with each other, just watching the spectacle of it all. It seems to be a good reason to stay in the bar, is to see the nightly entertainment.
Mhm. Well, as I'm passing the bird, I want to kind of, not like super loudly, but ask him to follow me for a moment. I need to talk to him.
And he nods to you. Paramount to keep a low profile.
They're not very good at that.
And you unlock the door and go into this small room. There is a desk and two beds along with two chests in the room. Just a kind of standard in room. But as you go in, the bird Creek sits on one of the bed and points at the chest.
Just opens it, just kind
you-
of flings it open.
You find your and the party's equipment in there, as well as a small piece of paper on top.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up and see if I can read it. Hopefully, it's written in a language I know.
It is not.
Damn. But I'm pretty sure I comprehend languages, so
Perfect.
I'm going to cast that.
Yeah. So as you see the words kind of begin to muddle together, it seems to be written in like a dark charcoal-based writing instrument, and the words kind of swirl on the paper until you're able to read it, and you see that it is a street address, and it says underneath it, Erin Family Warehouse.
And how did you spell Erin?
ERREN.
Family Warehouse. All right.
And it would be around this time that the rest of you would be making your way kind of up the stairs and towards the room.
After I read the address, I just kind of look over at Creek And just give a little nod and say, I'm assuming this is where you want us to stir things up first.
Word on the sea is a Galakine warship has been spotted in nearby waters. Don't know what it's doing here, but it skipped resupply in Adrithel and made anchor just up the coast.
Yeah. The word on the docks is they've been waiting for the right night to sneak something good into the city.
And what did he say the name of the ship was?
He did not.
Oh, well, what was the name he said? I'm sorry, I'm trying to take notes.
Oh, warship.
He
Galakine warship.
just said it was a Galakine, an elven warship.
Okay. Keen. Okay. Cool. Thank
Couple
you.
of sailors said it's sitting real low in the water, with only a few hands on deck.
All right. Let's wait for the others to make their way out there before we discuss any more. If they can make it out of that mess.
And almost on cue, around the corner turns a Django with a shard of glass sticking out of his head, and the other two quickly behind him.
Such fun. I hope that the gala is just as much excitement.
We should not do any fighting at the gala.
Of course, love.
Perhaps maybe we should avoid pickpocketing the important people at the gala.
For sure.
I have a feeling it won't be easily solved by Lydia here punching out a few idiots.
I don't know. That was pretty great. I'd watch that a few times.
And I would do it a few times, but I wouldn't do it at a fancy party.
And I'm sure some of these fine folks will be there with us after we handed those invitations out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then that means they're going to recognize us.
Era's gonna kind of, wave the paper.
Who the
What's that?
Era, something directing us to the Aaron family warehouse. Apparently there was according to Creek here, there was a ship that's supposed to have been waiting to deliver something good, I suppose.
Sneak something good into the city.
Oh, really? What kind of ship?
A Galakine warship.
Would I have any knowledge about those ships being Galakine myself?
You would. You would know that it is unusual for one of their warships to be in these waters, especially kind of during this period of strife.
That's odd. Those ships aren't usually in these waters.
Don't know what it's doing here.
Yeah, I don't either. But it sounds like there's some sort of smuggling happening.
Luke, can I see one of those invitations, please?
Of course.
All right. Now open it. Is
Yep.
there? What is does it say like what the specific celebration event is, or is it just the family stop fighting?
It says it is a masquerade ball for the festival in honor of the Festival of the Sea and the diplomatic talks between two houses. It is going to take place on Friday night, anytime after, I believe, 7. I'd have to check my notes, but I'm going to go with 7 for right now. And it gives you an address for the warehouse. It informs you that the masquerade attire is mandatory and that it is a formal occasion. It also quotes no weapons.
All right. So she's gonna read through it, just kind of look the other three up and down. Well, we're not gonna get in there looking like this or carrying any weapons, it looks like.
That's for sure. I never let anybody with a weapon into a fancy party like that.
So we're going to have to at least try to look like we can blend in. And she's pointedly looking at Django. When are you saying that?
As she does that, you see Django will pull a shard of glass out of his head and just, oh, don't worry about me, love. I will look fabulous.
Do not call me that.
He calls
Apologies.
everyone that.
Make me the one person you don't. I don't think you really want to know what the skeletal hand around your throat feels like.
I would love to see that.
Oh, well. Noted, mate. I know when to shut up sometimes.
No, you don't. That was a bold-faced lie.
And that's the first smart thing I've heard you say this whole adventure.
Things are in there. And she just kind of taps the chest with her foot.
Sloop, dives headfirst in and like comes out like holding his bag close. And sort of swings his rapier around a few times and is like,
I could have used you downstairs. Would have been nice.
Slips it at his side.
Probably would have caused more trouble.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Yes, but I don't think we should be making such a huge scene in the middle of a bar. Get ourselves exposed right away.
It is
already done
paramount to
that.
keep a low profile.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my God! What is
you
that?
screwed that up.
Creek is sitting there on the bed, like hands on his paunch, feathery bird finger wing hands on his paunch, seeming to just rather enjoy the group of you.
This is our contact, Creek.
Oh,
His name I got
We'll see to
right
that
away.
their equipment is safely stored and that they have a place to lay low if things get too heated.
I don't suppose you were planning for us to cause such a ruckus downstairs and then lay low.
And he kind of laughs. Says, it would be wise to keep your natural deceptions in the king's favor.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all, mate. Do not worry about us, Creek. We will certainly shore up any leaks we've made.
With that, he gets up, kind of brushes himself off, goes to the door, and then turns around and says, utter a word of this to anyone, and you'll lose more than just your precious tongue. And smiles and closes the door.
Well, I've heard that
Charming.
before.
Ooh. We've heard that before.
Of course.
I have a feeling you've heard that multiple times in your life.
Oh, well, people seem to always want to take parts of me and leave the rest.
Oh,
As he holds up his hand and you notice the two halves of his fingers missing, pulls back his hair and there's a missing ear, and he just smiles back. But I'm still standing.
Fingers and ears, no good. The tongue, a lot more meat in the tongue.
Thank you, Sloop, for that illuminating insight.
My thoughts exactly, Sloop.
Well, what next? Do we have to
Well-
lay low now that you two caused a ruckus downstairs?
Not at all. It's just a rabble of scabless dogs. They're not going to cause any trouble. They just wanted to fight.
Snitches get stitches. Now they know that.
An excellent rhyme. An excellent rhyme. Half of them are deep in the drink.
I'll lose my mind with my connection, I swear to God.
So then what do we do next?
Suppose
I haven't a clue.
Did that bombastic drunk fellow that you ran out of the tavern mention anything else?
Oh, well, he just said that the celebration would be, I mean, everything he said is on these invitations we've got. But I don't think he'll be a problem.
I certainly hope not. Well, like I said, we were... she flashes the paper again. This is telling us about the Aaron family warehouse. I think that ship is probably worth looking into.
Yes, I'd be quite interested to know what a warship is doing so close to these waters.
Perhaps they're bringing something to this warehouse.
Perhaps it's something
You
that
don't
could-
say.
Perhaps it's something... Seems like it has to be a secret. Maybe it's something that one of the families plans to use against the other.
Certainly. It'd be useful to find out who exactly is smuggling in goods to damage other families, especially when we get to that party. I'm sure there'll be plenty who'd like to hear about that.
So in the invitation, it just says diplomatic, like diplomatic talks that they're celebrating.
Yeah, it is a diplomatic talk. It is a celebration for the Festival of the Sea, and it's just a masquerade ball for the nobility and merchant families.
Thing about this,
It is very, you can see, like, it is a very thick card stock. It is embossed. It is well inked. There is an individual wax seal on every single invitation. They are well made.
Something about the one of these events striking me kind of weird.
In what way?
The celebration of diplomacy after so long of these families seeming to hate each other. It just doesn't seem, it seems like it comes out of nowhere. So I'm wondering if whatever's on that ship, one is using against the other. And if, well, that were to come to the forefront to the public, I can imagine it would cause some civil unrest.
Yes, that would be the occasion to embarrass the other family. That's how I would do it.
Find out some dirt, broadcast it to the party. Just for the record, what day is it? Like, how many days until this party again?
It is Wednesday. The party is Friday.
Okay.
And the army, you know, to be arriving on Sunday.
So that would put a pretty big dent in what we're here to do. Seems
Or
like a
it
good way
could
to
be
kick it off.
the ruckus that we need to cause.
Certainly, we must. Of course, he almost says love with his mate. We must find what this item is, because it might not even be worth giving up. Maybe it can help us wreak havoc in Discord.
And that is the smartest thing I've heard you say all day.
No, it really isn't. You shouldn't trust anything I say.
I don't. So, you want to set out tonight? I'll wait till the morning. Can't imagine going outside after causing that big of a ruckus, especially being labeled as pickpockets.
It
Probably
does sound
appealing.
like the rebel rousing of downstairs has returned to a general night of drunken revelry. The bard has picked up his regular pace and tempo. You're not hearing any things break or bottles being smashed anymore. Just the
Is there a
kind
window
of
in
regular
this room?
conversation. There is not in this room. There
Okay.
is over the table on the at the bottom of the bar above the door. There's a table, and there is a window that looks out in front of the tavern.
I'm gonna stand up. I'll be right back. I'm not going downstairs. And I'm gonna exit the room, and I'd like to make my way over to that window, and if I could, peer over the banister and see if the unconscious are still on the ground or if they've been scooped up. I'm really just seeing if there's anybody that's like standing around that looks kind of pissed.
Yeah, make a perception check for me.
Where is that? That's performance, not perception. So put that. That's an 8. Good lord.
An 8. You look down, and it seems as if the regular bustle of the tavern is much like it was when you came in. There's a few less bodies and whatnot. As you turn around and look out the window, looking out into the kind of the front in front of the tavern as well, you can see that there's a few kind of unconscious people laid up by like a trough of water outside. But that they don't seem to be, they seem to be kind of happily passed out where they are. It's a bit difficult to see them as a fairly thick fog has crept into the town since your arrival.
Okay, so but from this terrible perception roll, I don't see like anybody's looking for trouble or looking to rough up the people who just started that ruckus.
Nope.
All right, I'll make my way back. So I couldn't get a good look, but it doesn't look. It looks like things have. It looks and sounds like things have died down. So we could either go and check out and see if we can find whatever this warship is doing here now, or at least get an eye on it. Or we can do so in the morning. I'm fine either way.
I mean, why do it tomorrow what you can do today?
Very true. You're muted, Django.
Thanks. A warehouse sounds like a place that would have a lot of folk in the morning.
It's very true. We operate better in the darkness anyway. Might as well.
But if it is owned by this family, it will likely be protected.
Well, just need to be a little more careful. Not start any more fistfights.
If I'd known,
I threw no fists.
If I'd known we were going
started
to go
it.
sneaking around right away, I would have prepared. But I think we should be fine.
I will be extra careful.
Can we just make a rule that he doesn't talk?
Oh.
I've been trying that for months. It's gotten me nowhere.
At your commands, mates. I'll keep quiet. Quiet as the night as we approach.
Just like that.
Sloop is digging around in this new bag that he picked up, and he reaches inside and just sort of comes out with 2 handfuls of goo on them, and he starts like smearing some of it on his face, and reaches up towards Django and is like,
You look hurt. You want some bag goo?
Mate, I would love some bad goo.
And then he starts like, yeah, he pulls on your coat so that you come down closer to him and starts smearing it on your face. So I'm going to use the 2 charge ability on my bag. So I'm going to heal you for 2d8.
Ooh.
Love it.
So to the players, to the audience, each of the players have been given a unique artifact of my own creation related to their previous adventures, off-camera adventures, where they sacked a holy city, kind of like the Vatican. And this bag that Sloop has a number of different odds and ends in it that he can use, one of which is his healing goop.
Django will just sort of continue to smear it around on his face into his glass wound.
That's the good stuff.
That would make me look younger.
My darling, there's not enough bad goo in the world for that to happen.
Are you 2 all right, at least?
Well, after the goo, of course.
You do notice that the goo smells terrible. Like, and it stings. Like, it stings like a menthol sting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
But
let's
it
try
does
not to
work.
get...
You do feel better.
I
Well,
feel
let's-
better on the inside, love.
Well, let's try not to get hit with any more bottles, shall we?
Yeah. Or chairs.
And Sloop kind of picks a bunch of wood out from his teeth.
All right. So, are you making your way to the warehouse? Is that the plan?
There we are.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yes. As we're leaving, Django is going to thread the quill that he has into the lapel of his coat so that it is out.
I will say I
Okay.
am keeping mage armor up
Noted.
for the hour that I can. For the 8 hours I can.
8 hours. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you make your way back outside to this banister rail. You see Creek is in conversation with another one of these people who have come out of their room. He seems very at home and comfortable here, and he kind of gives you guys a look, but not a nod or anything of the sort. Just kind of clocks you going out. As you make your way down through the bar, gingerly kind of stepping around, you see the glasses being swept up and everything is pretty much back to normal. It seems as if most people in the bar seem to consider this to be a fairly regular night still.
Big question. Do either Sloop or Django, did either of them look bloodied? Like blood on their clothes?
I do not believe so.
Like nothing from the head wound or anything.
Yeah, I
Technically,
guess would have.
mechanically, bloodied is typically a condition of if you are.
I
under
was meaning
half
if they
health.
looked. I was meaning if they looked
Oh.
like they'd just been in the fight. I'm going to wave a hand and prestidigitation, clean their clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I haven't looked this good in a long time. These clothes get dirty quick. I hope you got that more than once.
I hope you've got that spell ready. We're going to need it.
We look a lot less suspicious, not covered in our own blood from the fight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
As I said, I threw no punches.
No,
That's what
Lydia
we told
did,
a job.
all of them. And
I simply told
managed
a
to
joke.
knock every single one of them down.
I did not get a drop of blood on me.
The
I
true
don't
lady.
think it would have been her blood either.
No, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, as you cast this on Sloop and then turn and cast it on Django, by the time you've turned back to Sloop, he has already managed to like spill some condiments on it somehow. And it's just like, you know, it's
What a
like
ballpark
the
fight.
bartender kind of came up and like fluffed out a bar rag, and just this like cloud of dust moved over and just like sullied him. Not quite covered in blood or anything, but he immediately no longer looks as spick as span as he once was.
You know what? I'm not your mother. I'm not supposed to clean you. I just wanted you not to have blood all over your clothes.
Yes, well, thank goodness for that.
Everything's fine. Everything.
Prestidigitation.
No, I'm just an idiot, and I knocked over my drink like a moron. But the can was already almost empty, so everything's fine. This is fine.
It's all good.
I wish I had
So-
prestidigitation right now. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Prestidigital. As you make your way, I can't take that back for live. God damn it.
I'm
You
saving that for
actually have paper towels.
I love that.
Tasha's hideous laughter.
So you make your way out of the tavern. As you do, the cool night air hits you immediately as you step outside. You see these few drunks kind of on the ground, sleeping in piles of hay with the horses. None of them seem dead, but all of them are kind of like, well, they're probably going to sleep there tonight after getting their butts royally handed to them.
Why you don't try to hit women?
Good lesson.
That's right.
Yeah, you make your way out. You pull out this sheet of paper that has the address on it. You don't immediately recognize where it is, but as some of you have at least visited Adrithel before, you understand that its layout is kind of like 3 streets that run north-south, perpendicular to the beach, with a group of alleyways between them. And as you travel for not quite an hour, you manage to wind your way through a few streets until you find a sign that matches where the warehouse is set to be, and you make your way down towards it. As you head down the cobblestone streets towards the north side of town, the well-hewn stones below you turn smooth and sandy as the old town stretches out onto the beach and along the coastline. The houses around you begin to lose their simple geometric shapes as large wooden spires with ornate glasswork erupt out of the sands at all angles. The buildings in this part of town are an all too familiar shape to many of you, as over the ages, large gallikeen, elven boats have been run ashore and hauled up to provide the original frames for many of the structures. As lengthy and as old as time itself seems to be the longboat that now finds itself home to the Aaron family warehouse. Once a monstrous trading vessels, rumors along the way say that it is one of the first ships that made landfall at Adrithel, laden heavy with supplies so that the original founders of the town would have a fighting chance colonizing the shores and forests beyond. The boat itself is propped upside down along the water's edge atop a stone retaining wall with small docks built into the side for the loading and unloading of precious cargo. Around the stern of the ship, the back, a small courtyard has been built where guards can be heard practicing drills and in whispered conversation beneath the shade of a large oak tree. The boat's rudder, long since removed, has been replaced with a small balcony, and the flickering light of candles can be seen behind some portholes on the boat's hull.
Okay. Does it look like it's, do we see any people walking by guarding it from where we are? Any lights? Like someone's carrying a torch or?
Yeah, as you walk kind of down the street along the long length of this warehouse, it's about a 200-ish foot warehouse. You do see that the entrance of the boat, which is in the back, has this small courtyard built around it with torchlight inside, and a balcony overlooking that courtyard with a couple of guards on top.
Well, how do we want to do this?
I got us in trouble last time, so I guess I won't pick the guards' pockets, although I could.
No, I think that is a wise decision, my friend. Well, do we want to just take a walk? See what we can see?
Might be the best for now.
I don't think we need to attract any unnecessary attention. We're just out for a nighttime stroll. We like to be near the water. The pirates.
Right.
It is still fairly early in the night, around kind of 10:30-ish. So the streets aren't empty, but the town is quieter than it would be during the day.
All right. So are we walking like along the, I guess, the most accessible route beside the warehouse, or are we?
Yeah, so a road leads along the entire length of the warehouse.
Okay.
That is just one of the main roads of the city.
Okay. As we're walking, I just want to kind of keep an eye out and see if maybe I see a door that doesn't look like it's being guarded properly, or a potential blind spot where the guards might be.
Make a investigation check.
I'm not terrible at that. 8. Never mind.
You see
Not
that
familiar with places like this.
this long side of the boat, kind of the boat's hull that goes along the edge of this road, is sealed solid the entire way along the road.
Okay. All right. I don't suppose we're going to try and get in there tonight, are we?
Well, we're certainly not going to do it in the middle of the day, but I don't know if we should do it now or wait till we have some more information about whatever it is that's coming in.
We could just find, maybe if we could get some higher ground, get a better look. Can't really see much from here.
Up is, I can do up.
You can do up.
There are
Okay.
houses around on the other streets. There are also trees and the like around as well.
Can you do up quietly?
Oh yeah, I can do it real good. Yeah, you point, I go.
I'm not one climbing. It's just not my specialty. But you there, Sloop, so bold of a kobold, you seem as though you could climb any surface. And I will give you some bardic inspiration.
Ooh.
So it's 1d8 on whichever roll you want over the next 10 minutes.
Okay.
One.
So I'll try to climb. Is there like a house that looks like if I climbed it on the other side, I'd get a better view of sort of the top of the warehouse?
Yeah. A lot of the houses in this area are older residential houses, and there's definitely a couple across the street. You could get up a story or 2 stories to get kind of on equal footing with the top of this boat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pick one of the taller houses, and
Sure.
try and find some loose stones or a rain gutter or something to scurry up.
Yeah. Would you make a acrobatics check for me?
I will indeed. It's a 17.
Yeah. You don't have any trouble climbing up a kind of a number of boxes and rain barrels. You put your foot up on a windowsill to get up onto a lower roof that leads you up to a higher roof, and you're able to get a better kind of view of the warehouse from where you are. I will let you take a perception check with advantage from up there.
Okay.
But give me an idea of what the kind of things you're looking for are.
I guess if there's like unguarded doors up top or like skylights or something that we would be able to sort of sneak up to and take a look inside.
Mm-hmm.
So my perception with advantage, I guess, is a 20.
20. Yeah.
Shocker.
So you do see that there is a balcony that is up at the front of the boat. It looks over the courtyard. You believe that you could climb a tree nearby to get onto the balcony, though you do see there are currently 2 guards on that balcony. They appear to be looking out over the water, facing the other direction. So it is a potential route of opportunity, route of opening. What's the word I'm looking for here? On top of that, you also see there are a number of portholes along the second level of the boat. From where you are standing, you can see that some of them are not glassed in. They just kind of have wooden shutters that have closed them. There is candlelight behind some, not behind others. But you believe that if you had some way to climb up there, that you could enter through that way. Out in the distance, you can also see not too far into the harbor because of the heavy fog, but you do see movement of boats in the distance. Just kind of the flicker of lantern light, like little wisps in the fog.
Okay, I'll scurry back down and sort of run back up to everybody and just say,
Balcony, 2 guards on it, bunch of portholes. We could probably get up too. If I went up there, I could bring down a rope for everybody.
Did any of the portholes look like anybody was behind them?
Some light behind some of them. Yeah, somebody's home for sure. But other ones I can't see through. They don't got no glass in them. Just closed up.
All right. And
God.
she just
The guards are just outside that room.
Yeah, just on the balcony. They watching the water though. So if we were sneaky enough, 1, 2, off they go.
And you would have been able to hear and see from where you were down in the courtyard in front of the warehouse. You did see movement of other guards as well. Hard to tell
Bunch of
exactly
guards
how
down
many
there.
between the trees and the walls blocking it, but
Yeah, the ground level's definitely guarded.
But the upper level might not be, at least not as
Might be.
heavily.
Somebody reading by candlelight, maybe.
Well, Django, that thing you did to make when that other fellow ran out, would you be able to potentially do that again to one of the guards?
Oh, I could do both, mate.
Well, that might be a good idea. Maybe you can suggest that they go in. Give us
Certainly.
a chance to get up on the balcony.
For clarification on the structure, so it's the longboat-like structure. There's the guards on the balcony, and then there's amount of guards we don't know in the courtyard. And this courtyard is you said it's within a retainer wall?
yeah, there's just a small wall built out from basically the back of the boat has a small wall built around it with a gate. That's just used for kind of loading and unloading and for the guard patrols.
Okay, and then there's the street there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know. All right. Oh, I might be able to get them to leave the entire structure.
That would be quite useful. Give us a chance to get up there. If sorry, I'm looking through some abilities here. What does this do? Hold on. It will not let me read it. Oh, no, that's not going to help. Well, damn, I did not prepare for this. So who do you think we should send up? I don't think it's a good idea for us all to go up there just yet. Maybe 2 of us. to go
Perhaps-
into the lookout.
Perhaps the little one and Lydia, perhaps. I've got all these
Sure.
bags and this mandolin and... I'll be
I'm not exactly good at being stealthy, so
Well, and if your magic doesn't work, you can do it the old-fashioned way.
But if my magic doesn't work, you'll know in a jiffy, love.
I also vote that Lydia goes up with me, if my vote counts.
Of course, your vote
pretty-
counts, and it would be my honor.
pretty sure your vote counts.
I think your vote counts for 2.
Absolutely. That's
I
how
will
that
make you
works.
regret that.
I regret everything, mate.
Lydia, can I get you to make a insight check for me?
Sure. 16.
So you would have known from kind of the patrols of this. This is clearly a Gallican elven warehouse, and the guards positioned outside you see are well trained. Not necessarily that you don't think that you couldn't take one in a fight, but you know that they do pose risk.
All right. Well,
If we
something I neglected to mention is these guards are a lot stronger than the ruffians we dealt with at the bar.
if it's a distraction you need to get a good hit, I can probably provide it.
Or we just be extra stealthy.
All right. I wonder how far up is that balcony? Just for
It is on the second floor.
okay, so say 20 feet out is probably a safe
Yeah.
estimate. Well, can't believe I'm going to ask this. If somebody can get me a little closer, I could probably use that little spot trick, make a little distraction that could make it easier for you to sneak in if Django's persuasion doesn't work. So,
Well, shall we try that first? Mr. Teague, are you ready?
Oh, certainly, darling. As you see, the little quill on his jacket starts to wiggle around. And then he'll look to you and say, but of course, as always, you are ready for everything, and you will be the sneakiest I've ever seen. You'll basically disappear. Now, go and be the sneakiest you can be. And I'll give you bardic inspiration as well.
hard, man.
Thanks.
All right. So then I'll guess once Lydia and Sloop are in position ready to go, I will cast Suggestion on one of the 2 guards.
Are you doing the guards on the balcony or the guards on the main floor?
On the balcony.
Okay.
And where's Bargain? And I will say to them, or to one of them,
No, they can't. Sorry. They are on the far side of the balcony looking out over the water. So they aren't.
Oh, yeah.
They are not like looking down at you guys. They are looking in the opposite direction.
And I also just remembered that Suggestion, they need to hear me. So I'm going to run. I guess I'll look to everyone and just kind of get there. I'm not just going to rush off and do something. Django turns to them and says, I'm not ready. So when I suggest things to these folks, they need to hear my eloquent words.
And your dulcet tones.
Yes, of course. So what I'm thinking is perhaps I rush off now to those gates and shout out to these guards about something going amiss in the streets. I don't know if that is as good of a plan.
As long as you're gathering their attention, it'll probably work.
I may be able to enhance this suggestion with another of my tricks. And perhaps the aid of your sparks. How far can you send those sparks?
About 10 feet.
And maybe not with the aid of your sparks. Oh boy, okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to just as a question about the spell, it says that it can last up to an hour. Could I potentially put the sparks on him and send him out, or, and then would it still be working, or?
Yeah, I think I think so. This is prestidigitation.
Mm-hmm. Says that it's a duration up to an hour, and its range is 10 feet, but it doesn't say anything about me like.
So there's another thing I can do is I have a way with pyrotechnics of the magical sword.
Really, I was going to offer I could make it look like you were on fire.
That might actually help, because I can also, with these pyrotechnics, instead of creating fireworks, I can create black smoke as if there's a fire. 60 feet away from me.
This doesn't need to be a production, but...
Well, we just need enough time, love, for you to...
No, I could just actually start a fire and make it a little easier. Draw up a little bit more attention.
Well, I don't. Seems to be getting a little complicated.
As all plans do.
I can either make it real or I can make it an illusion. Pick one.
Well, certainly, I think illusory this early.
You can actually set Django on fire.
I can make it look like he's on fire, or I could just light an object on fire. I don't think you actually want me to light him on fire.
That would be very entertaining.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, but I don't think I want to deal with the consequences of that.
It's very fair.
Perhaps we need to see into those windows first.
Perhaps.
If one of you can sneak up, I can... Hopefully, I haven't done this in a while, but I can communicate with you mentally. And you can let us know what's in there.
I like that plan.
I'm not very dexterous, not very good at climbing, so...
Don't worry, I can take care of it.
Okay.
Are you sure? I was thinking of our small friend here.
That works as well.
But
Yeah, why not both, you know?
that is true. Because if you're both there and you tell us what's in there, we can go with the plan.
One could look in... There's multiple portholes up there.
Yeah, there's
can
kind
take
of
one.
portholes all along that second floor. Some have just like wooden shutters kind of in front of them. That other ones have kind of been cast open. But they look from where you're standing like they'd all be potentially openable.
Okay, let's up we go then.
Up we go. Lead the way, Mr. Brinescale.
And don't forget how much I inspired you.
Every day, Mr. Teague. Every day.
Be careful.
So how do you plan to scale up to a second story?
That's a great question.
What is that? So
I'll tell you when we figure it out.
Oh, okay.
It is like a wood wall. Yeah, it is. It's the outside of a boat.
What's the outside of a boat?
Yeah. So it does, after the first kind of story, begin to fold backwards into the spine of the boat, which is now the roof. But you will still have some challenge getting up the first part.
That nearby tree, say I climbed that and maybe did a running jump off a branch, could I get onto that over that first story?
Yeah, if you went up that tree could take you over the wall. It could take you onto the balcony, or with a skillful acrobatics check. I would let you swing from a branch to catch one of the nearby portholes.
Skillful or lucky. Let's.
And it's accompanying stealth checks. Assuming you're
Sure.
doing this stealthily, of course. I don't want to put rolls in your mouth.
An inspired stealth.
Yeah, I guess I would like tug on Lydia's shirt and point at the tree, and just say,
That'll get us most of the way. Just quick hop and a jump over to the wall.
All right. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure, always.
and I'll scurry up the tree.
Okay.
So I don't know if this will help, but another thief rogue ability is second story work. So I don't have to spend extra movement to climb, and in addition, when I make a running jump, the distance I cover is increased by a number of feet equal to my dex mod, which I think, yeah.
I'm not going to require you to do any climbing checks
Okay.
to get up the tree. When you make a running jump, the distance increases by... Roll me a stealth check. I'm going to say with that ability, you do not need to make the acrobatics check to get over that, but you still need to make a stealth check to do it noisily.
Okay.
Not noisily. That depends on what you
and-
go for.
with bardic inspiration, do you have to roll it before, or can you like roll after?
You can roll after.
You can roll after. Okay.
Yep.
And here comes a stealth 18.
Okay, and do you want to add a...
You
Bardic
know what?
inspiration on
Let's
Yeah,
roll.
you can.
Let's add
You
that
can only roll it before you know the outcome.
before I know the outcome.
Yeah. So if he says you failed, you can't roll it. Then
Let's just throw it on there. So that's an extra 5, so 23.
Yeah, so the group of you on the ground see Sloop kind of walk up to the base of this tree, do a couple of like 1, 2 stretches, and then with his pirate hooked tail begins masterfully climbing the tree like a little ring-tailed lemur almost. There's a slight... He hits a point where there's a lot of leaves on the tree and kind of waits until the wind catches the tree and rustles it, and then moves along with the wind. And you just see him kind of run down a branch that probably wouldn't support any of the others of you, leap out onto the edge of the boat, do a super sick like wall run a couple of feet down, and catch a hand on the edge of the porthole.
I'm gonna lean over and just whisper, "Oh, I told him that." Quill is.
Sloop, as you pull yourself up to look into this porthole, you see a small office in front of you. There's a table, a couple of chairs, maps, letters, notes. There's all sorts of different chests and cabinets around, but it's a fairly small room with a dimly lit candle inside of it, but it is empty. And as you pull yourself up and carefully sneak in, we are actually going to call the session there for tonight.
I
Right.
catch the last 15 seconds of that, so
He snuck into an office is the long and the short of it. An office full of maps and chests and cabinets and letters and everything. It looks to be kind of the warehouse administrative office. So with that, thank you everybody for joining us.